Hello everyone, welcome to your Q&A ahead of Gameweek 17. We've got a Sam back from her 3-week hiatus from the Q&A from the FPL show this morning. You're very dolled up, looks nice.
I feel not myself today. I was saying this to you before I came here, because you could hear me before you could see me today, can you? And I was like, I don't think I look like myself at all. And earlier on, I had a bright red lipstick on, but I've been eating some sweets, so it's disappeared. I really didn't.
Oh, the mystique of the Premier League is...
I know, it's like I feel like a different person. I've only been gone 3 weeks, so I've come back looking entirely different.
Well, I feel the complete opposite. I am extremely hungover after my work's Christmas party last night, in which I once again messed up trains and ended up having to get a taxi home. And I don't even want to say how much that cost me because it's really, really depressing.
More than last time.
More than last time. Oh, yes. Really bad.
As.
I know. Really bad. Let's not talk about it. Let's talk about other crazy things that are going on. It's absolute carnage in FPL world at the moment. Obviously, we've got the news that Haaland we didn't get much of an update from Pep other than it looks very, very likely he's going to miss Crystal Palace, right? We're almost certain he's going to miss Palace. But then obviously Pep sticks in the little, unless something happens, maybe there's a chance and all that. But he's out, right?
Oh, yeah. I think he's out. I don't think that there's... What Pep said was basically, I'm not going to confirm it for you, but... he's not playing with Crystal Palace. We've got to check. He basically kept going on about,
fair.
You don't look like a bum.
Fair sock hand one.
You do look like you've been on a lad's night out and lost.
I'm drinking a Barocca. I'm drinking a Barocca at 4:00.
Oh, bless you. It's not the day for me to turn up and have my hair.
I know. You're really showing me up here.
I'm going to a body pump class after this. Can you imagine what they're going to say when I turn up like this? They'll be like, what the hell is this one on? Christ.
I'm going back to bed.
No, I've got body... Well, and guess what the worst thing is? I will get back to answer your question on Haaland in a minute. But the worst thing is the pump class finishes at 6:30. It's deadline.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're not going to get any more news now, are we?
No, but I haven't done anything yet. I've got to lock in my team. I've got to do that between finishing here with you and going to the class. But anyway, back to Haaland. I think he was basically saying we're hopeful to have him for the first game of the Club World Cup. And if we don't get him for the first game of the World Cup, then we'll get him for hopefully the second game of the Club World Cup. I don't think there's any chance he plays tomorrow. He only got back yesterday.
Yeah, there's no chance he plays. He wouldn't risk it. They're taking the Club World Cup very seriously, obviously, and they don't want to risk it. People are saying your sound's low. I mean, we get it all the time.
God.
There's no reason for it to be low because everything looks right at my end. So we're just going to have to press on, I'm afraid.
I'll shout.
Yeah. I think it's fine. It's a few people saying.
Lee will be in the other room and he'll be going, why is she shouting?
I'll turn mine down a little bit and then that might balance.
And then everyone can up their
yes,
volume.
Exactly. Kevin Hodges, is that a cocktail? Absolutely not. No, this is a Barocca to try and get my
you, but on a good day,
my energy up. Oh god, yeah. Get your questions in. We've got obviously there's loads of flags. There's hits being taken. We've got Haaland out. And everyone's saying the volume's fine. Yeah, it's just a few people. I think people just need to turn the volumes up, to be honest. That seems to be the general thing. Let's take a look at the first question from Aish Varadorj. Sorry if that pronunciation of your name is wrong. With Haaland out, obvious replacement is Watkins, have Solanke. The other thing was Mubama to Alvarez or Jesus or Gordon to Richarlison. Should I do both these transfers on? I mean, there's a few things to unpack here. Firstly, who do you think the most obvious Haaland replacement is?
I think it is Watkins if you don't have him, and then I think it's Solanke if you do have Watkins.
Yep.
So in this case, I think going from Haaland to Watkins is the most logical thing to do.
Yep. Okay.
The other thing was Mbama to Alvarez.
Sorry,
yeah. I think that was me. I think I misheard what you said. Alvarez or Jesus or Gordon to Richarlison. So the thing is with Gordon, Howe is very unhelpful. I think that's the way I would describe Eddie Howe. He's always unhelpful. He never really tells us the full story, does he? Harvey Barnes has had a setback with his recovery. So who is he going to play if he doesn't play Gordon? I appreciate what he's saying about Gordon needs a late check, but Gordon is just knackered, I think, rather than actually injured.
Slight tightness on his hamstring. That's what we're hearing. He did go off with a slight concern. I mean, he could move Isak over to the left, couldn't he, and play Watkins up top again, and give Gordon a break because they've got Chelsea in midweek.
And Wilson
with the
really
cup.
play?
That's
play
it.
again?
I don't think so. I would be very surprised if Gordon doesn't play some minutes.
I would too. Too.
So I'm not selling Gordon. I'm keeping him. I mean, if he doesn't come on, I'm getting Archer off the bench. I don't think that's awful, given that Sheffield United are looking a bit better under Wilder, and Chelsea have now lost Sanchez and have a few kind of injuries themselves.
Oh yeah, well, I took a -4 for Sanchez last week.
But if I had Mubama and I could move up to Alvarez or Jesus, I think I'd be tempted. Because if Gordon doesn't play for Aishvara, then there's no one presumably coming on.
But you don't need to do Gordon to Richarlison to be able to do that other move, surely.
No, I'm saying just do Mubama to Jesus or Alvarez.
Yeah, I'd do that. Yeah, I wouldn't do the Gordon move, I don't think.
No, me neither. Tiger131071, nice name. Watkins in for a hit. We've identified him as the best replacement. Would you get him for a hit?
If I decide to sell Haaland, it is for a hit.
Okay, you're in this boat then. The same as Tiger.
So I'm not going to hit for Watkins because I've already got him, but I think I'm going to hit for Solanke. I just think that for 2 weeks without Haaland, for a player that you would want and has got really good potential to return really well in the next couple of weeks, then making the hit makes sense. So I think we're not really looking at this as a hit for game week 17. We're looking at it as a hit for game week 17 and 18. So it's basically 2 points per week.
What was your other move then?
Well, I haven't done any yet, but my other move is going to be Mark Gahey to Pedro Porro.
Porro, yeah, I like that. Yeah,
get some Porro in my life.
Get some Porro. You got to get him in. Yeah, he's very 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 popular this week. Sam, it's from Matt Francis. Sam, do you think Pep controls what goes on the City website? This was an argument Mark and I had on Black Box in the week. Mark was adamant that Pep has every control in everything that goes on. Apparently he's spoken to a few people sort of in the know, and they've kind of confirmed that he would have a say in things. I still don't think he cares. What do you think?
I think there's rules, probably set by Pep, but I don't think he actually says. I don't think he reads everything that. I don't think he checks.
Exactly.
No.
Yeah.
I think he probably says, "I don't want you to say certain things," and they abide by that.
Because I think it's very interesting that they let the City website led with Haaland to return to training. Because for all we know, that hasn't happened. He hasn't returned to training. He's returned to the club for
he's back in the club, yeah.
assessment but he's not in full training. That's not what I believe has happened. So it's interesting that they did go with that headline. And that was the kind of thing. It was like, well, I was saying I reckon maybe the people just put it out and didn't really think too much about it, and Mark was saying no, Pep would have made sure that headline was exactly how he wanted it and all that. I don't know, that was the debate we had. We have fun.
Good old black box,
absolutely. Dubravka or Areola? Here we go, a goalkeeper question from Tinker.
I mean, I've got two problematic goalkeepers this week. I think you'd start Areola. And
really?
Yeah. Dubravka's got Fulham. They're suddenly scoring loads of goals, Fulham.
They're at home though.
They've got no defence either. They've got, Kieran Trippier's not there.
Got Livramento, my boy.
Well, yeah, I know that, but I've got him too. But I don't see them keeping a clean sheet. I really don't. And Dubravka's just been leaking goals, and I think that continues. I think Areola's got more chance of a clean sheet if he starts. So I would start Areola and then let Dubravka come off the bench if Areola doesn't start.
I would do the opposite of that. But one of us is 88k in the world, one of us is 2.4 million. So probably go with Sam. That's what I say. You're on the up since we last did one of these. I think you were like 150k or something when we last did one, and now you're 88k. It's pretty good.
Yeah, well, I've been a bit yo-yo-y the last few weeks. So I think that's right. I think the last time I was here was about 140, 150k, something like that. Did get to 54k at one point and then dropped back down again, and then had a green arrow. I dropped back from 54k to 99k after the midweek round of fixtures, and then came back up to 88 after last weekend. So it's been a bit yo-yo-y, but yo-yo-y in the right areas, like staying within the top 100k now, which is kind of nice.
Well, I'm yo-yoing in the top 2 million, and it's it's not as fun, to be honest. But yeah, no, you're doing it well. Super chat from Christopher Con. Thank you very much. Hello, my lovelies. Bring in, it's very like Mrs. Brown Boys.
It is.
In that. Hello, my lovelies. Bring in Solanke tonight, and Watkins in. Well, you need to do it better than tonight. Do it.
Do it now.
Yeah. Bring in Solanke tonight and Watkins in over Darwin. Oh, for game week for 18, I'm assuming, because there's going to be a price. Prices going up. Have Alvarez as third striker. Also, thoughts on Trent in for Simicast. I wouldn't do any moves tonight when there's a whole round of games to play.
I totally agree. I think do it now for a hit, or do it next week.
Yeah.
Closer to the Thursday deadline.
Yeah. I'm guessing Christopher wants to play Darwin against Manchester United and then remove him for Solanke. But you're not going to be missing out on, unless it's Darwin to Watkins with exact money, which I doubt it is, because Haaland is out and presumably that he's been sold. So I don't think funds are that much of an issue. And if it's Darwin to Solanke, then just take the 0.1. And yeah, there's so many flags and games and.
Unless he means bring in Solanke tonight, as in for this week, and then next week bring in Watkins for Darwin. And then you'd have Alvarez on the bench next week. Either way, I wouldn't.
It's the game week 18 though that makes me think it's.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's just for the Watkins in 18 or the Solanke bit as well. Okay. Do you see what I mean? But so Solanke, don't do anything tonight. Let them play out, unless you want to bring Solanke in today and then do that for Haaland
before the exactly. Yeah. Okay, yeah, Solanke, good pick. I think he's the favourite, the poster boy of Gameweek 17, I think. So we like that move, but yeah, wait on Watkins until a bit closer to the next deadline. Baron Van Duck, Salah triple captain, worth a punt. What do you reckon on that?
Do you know, weirdly, I don't hate that.
No.
I think Salah is going to absolutely smash it this weekend. I really do. Like I said on the FPL show this morning, on the fantasy show this morning, Salah would be my captain this week, even if Haaland was fully fit.
Whoa. Okay, that's a big.
I'm that convinced that Salah's going to absolutely smash it. Like Manchester United. Sorry, any United fans that are in. I know I'm going to get abuse for it, but it's like
it's not me saying it for once. It's fine.
But the defence is at best third choice, and even then, I'm not convinced it's even third choice. Like they're really struggling for just fit players. Are not keeping clean sheets. They're without the captain this time around. Like they've got so many injury problems. I don't see where the goals are coming from. I don't see how they're going to keep a clean sheet. The best I think they can do is try and park a bus, Mourinho style, at Anfield. And I don't think that they've got the personnel to deal with Salah and Trent and Darwin's chaos for 90 minutes.
So you're saying triple captain, maybe? I
don't hate it. I really don't hate it.
You're not doing it, presumably.
I'm not doing it because I'm going to wait for a double or I'm going to probably wait for a double game week. But I don't hate it as an option this week.
Okay. I wouldn't do it. I don't hate it, but double game week. Sorry, it's a boring answer, but always in a double.
Yeah.
Always got the chance of more points in a double, I think. I wouldn't sell. I saw someone saying about Simicast. Oh, we didn't answer on Christopher on Simicast. Would you sell? Would you do Simicast to Trent?
Not this week.
I think Simicast looks all right this week. Given
Yeah,
he's had the rest in Europe. He's one, I think, if we have got this Haaland money to think about upgrading to in the future. But this week, I'd probably leave Simicast in.
Wait till Robbo's back. And then change it, because I think whilst Robbo's out, Simicast is still a decent pick.
Yep, agreed. Oh, we've got Chris in the chat. Hi, Chris.
Oh, hi, Chris.
Hang on, what have I walked into? You walked into some great advice giving, Chris, as always, on a Friday afternoon.
Just us having a chat.
FPL Rank Chaser, thank you very much for the super chat. You're in this boat, aren't you? Best Gahey replacement, but FPL Rank Chaser has less than 5 million to spend, so that rules out Pedro Porro, Pau Colwill, or Konsa.
Does it have to be one of them?
I mean, that's the question, so yeah.
Okay. Pau Torres then, of them three.
Yeah, I really like the Pau Torres move. I think he's... Yeah, I mean, Konsa's got the risk, isn't he, with cash maybe coming in and out. Colwill, Chelsea, just
Plays for Chelsea.
hopeless. I mean, I got Sanchez last week. What was
Me
I
too.
thinking?
For a -4.
Oh, same. I know. Who's your sub?
Well, this is the annoying thing is that I sold Matt Turner
Oh,
for a -4. He then played, and then my other goalkeeper is Areola.
oh, you're going to be sweating it, aren't you? You might have no goalie.
Then I'm rolling goalie-less.
Yeah.
I've got too many issues.
I take it you're not taking another hit for a goalie.
Not for no, because that'd be a -8 if I'm taking a hit for
Yeah, I
Haaland
know.
as well.
Yeah, I know.
No,
but
I'm not.
Okay.
If I wish I could roll back the time. I should have gone Neto. That's what I should have done. Instead,
Well,
I went Sanchez.
I nearly went for Martinez.
Who's your other goalkeeper?
Turner. I sold Areola.
I should have done that.
Yeah, I sold Areola. I just didn't think Turner was going to get his place back. I just sold the slightly more expensive one. There's no real knowledge or genius. But ouch. Okay, that's not an ideal situation.
No, it's a nightmare.
Yep. Al Chester, hi Sam and Az. Who do you prefer this week, Saka or Son?
Son.
Pick one. Sonny boy.
This week I would. Would you?
I think Son in general is I would still say is a slightly better pick than Saka. It's not much
More
in it.
likely to haul.
Yeah, I think so. Just the way Spurs play, and with him. I mean, he played on the left, didn't he, in the last game, and Kulu played at the 10, was it? And Richarlison,
Kulu's been playing in the 10 for a couple of weeks now. Lascelles got a niggle, and Kulu in the 10's working really well.
Yeah, I just really like Son. So if I was going to pick one for this week, I'd say Son. But I do think Arsenal should be getting a few goals against us the weekend. What a result for Brighton last night, though. 88th minute.
João Pedro, legend.
Never get starts in the league, but he's a top
He's
scorer
great in Europe.
He's a top scorer in the Europa League. Yeah, amazing. Stephen Gallagher, thank you for the super chat. Haaland to Solanke this week. Oh yeah, that's boring. That's what everyone's saying. Haaland to Solanke this week and Alvarez to Watkins in 18. Or downgrade Martinelli and upgrade Archer to Solanke this week, but I can keep a City forward. I mean, what do you think about keeping Haaland?
So I did think about this, and I think if Eddie Howard ruled Gordon absolutely fit to start, I might have considered keeping Haaland this week. But I've got 5 flags in my team. I mean, 2 of them are on goalkeepers, but I've got 5 because I've also got suspended Charlie Taylor in my team as well. So it's basically one problem after another. So I have thought about just keeping Haaland for 2 weeks, leaving him sat on the bench, and then having him back in there for game week 19. That is an option. I don't know. That feels like an opportunity to me to go out there and try and attack the game by taking Haaland out, using the money to do other things, probably just leaving most of it in the bank so I can get Haaland back in. I don't know if you don't have to take a hit this week and the rest of your team's fine and you can just do Haaland to Solanke. I don't know why you'd overthink it and take a hit. Because I think not taking a hit this week is going to put you in a nicer position.
I mean, you've got 3 options really, haven't you? You keep Haaland and just bench him until he's back. You sell Haaland and leave the money in the bank so you can get him back in a week or so, or you sell Haaland and you spread that money around, which makes it more difficult to get him back, but means I could do like Livramento to Trippier and Tsimikas to Trent. That's 2 pretty big upgrades, and we don't know what this injury with Haaland, like, we don't know the severity of it. We don't know whether he's going to be back fully fit, ready to play 90. He'd have to be back and fully fit in like a week's time for the festive run. Boxing Day, New Year, tight schedule. There's a lot of game weeks to play. I'm in the favour of just going without him for a bit, and when AFCON and the Asia Cup starts, then I'll have a bit more money to be able to bring him back in.
I just think it's the Sheffield United game, isn't it, in game week 20? That's the one. Not having him.
Do they need him for that though?
Well, it depends, doesn't it, on this injury, and we don't have enough information. I think that's the problem, is that we don't know how bad this injury is. If this injury is just keeping him out of this week, but then he's available for the first game of the Club World Cup, then I think he's fine and he's available and he plays against Sheffield United. I think if he doesn't play the first game of the Club World Cup and doesn't make it to the second game, given how seriously Man City are taking the Club World Cup,
that's very true.
if he doesn't play at all during the Club World Cup, then I think you can probably risk not having him. The Everton game, if Chris is still in the chat, the Everton game is not an easy game anymore. Like, I think that's a much more difficult game on paper than it looks on paper. But the Sheffield United game is the game you'd want him for. So the Club World Cup's actually going to be quite important, I think, for us in terms of understanding Haaland and what's going on with him.
Very true. Yep, good advice. Maybe don't spend all that money around then, because with Sheffield United... Ooh.
If you see Haaland's name on the team sheet for the first game in the Club World Cup, then you're going to be thinking, why have I spent all that money?
Yeah.
I need it back again.
Yeah, no, very true. Dr. David says Areola's flag has been removed. Yeah, he was on the bench, wasn't he?
It's been removed because he was on the bench in Europe. It doesn't necessarily mean he's going to get his spot straight back.
I know. I mean, Fabianski hasn't really been doing amazing.
No, he's been terrible.
So
David Moyes, if you're listening, Fabianski has been terrible. We need Areola back.
I think Areola comes back in. I think it's fine.
If he doesn't, I'm going to cry.
Crying over Areola, wow. They get you 1 point anyway.
It's one better than none.
Ted Wilson, I've Johnson and Turner. Should I take a hit for a new goalkeeper?
Oh,
or
God,
start
here we go
Turner
again.
and hope for the best? I'm just keeping Turner. I should make some saves tonight.
I think Turner will start.
Yeah, he will.
So... you probably don't need to take the hit unless you want to get Neto. If you want to do Johnston to Neto, don't mind that. Because 3 game weeks, that could be 3 clean sheets for Neto.
We've seen this before, haven't we? Hits for goalkeepers.
Well,
They
last
just
week.
so rarely work out. Like, look at Dubravka, like a few weeks ago. He looked nailed on to get that clean sheet and just didn't. This week, you take it for Sanchez, he gets injured. Like, I don't know, I think just stick with Turner. He's fine.
I think now we know that Turner's more likely to start, it's fine to stick with him.
It is. I mean, having Johnson though is risky because obviously if Turner does lose his place, I was talking to Mark on Wednesday, and he said as long as Cooper's in there, Turner should keep his choice because obviously Cooper's made the decision to bring him back in. But if Cooper is to go, if there's a bad result tonight and Cooper loses his job, then suddenly the keeper spot is completely wide open. So we just don't know.
Because the other thing with Turner is that if Spurs play like they did against Newcastle, and it's a big but if Spurs play like that and they score 4, then he could be getting 0 anyway.
Yeah, that's very true. Matt says who to sell for Son? Hwang, Gordon, or Bowen? Oof, I like all 3 of those.
God. I think I'd go Gordon only because of the flag situation, and because even if he does play, it's not the greatest fixture in the world with way Fulham are playing at the moment, and he's not going to be at full strength. I think we're getting like 80% Gordon if we get him. Whereas Hwang and Bowen, they're fit. I mean, you are giving yourself more of a problem come the game week 21 because you've got Hwang and Son then both off to the Asian Cup. But I think that's what I do. I think I'd tell Gordon.
Yeah, I think I agree. I like Hwang. You still don't see him in many teams, and he's doing really well on pens as well. Nice diff. Wolves playing well. I'd keep him. Bowen's playing up front. Decent fixtures on the horizon. I don't think I'd sell Bowen. Bowen's someone that every week I look at and I'm like, oh, I want him.
Want him back in, yeah.
Yeah, and then you look at Gordon. I just think he's a good pick. I've got him and I'm happy with him. But there is the injury. There is the fitness. There are the injuries. He'd be the one I think to lose. Another person, Jesmar as well. Jesmar Grek again. Whom to sell between Bowen and Gordon for Son? Like Sonny is he's popular, isn't he? People want him. Yeah,
because he's a legend and he's the world's nicest footballer. Like, he's so nice.
That video of him putting the microphone down on the table is really sweet.
I just really like him. There's a really lovely video of him that Spurs released him taking the mick out of Pape Sarr, and I was like, it's the first time I've seen Son trying to take the mick out of anybody. Like, what's happening?
He is far too nice. Who's the best captain option if you don't have Salah? Says Tom Mills.
Good question.
Firstly, get a big sofa.
Yeah.
You're going to have to hide behind that.
What other options this week? Son, I think, is an option against Nottingham Forest tonight if you don't have the hatred of the early kickoff like I do. I think you could go for Saka against Brighton because your defence is struggling. If you've not got Salah, and that probably means you might have Trent, maybe. So he's maybe an option in there as well against Manchester United. If you don't, maybe you've got a Darwin or someone like that you could go to. It feels a bit punty though. Everyone else feels a bit punty.
They do, don't they?
Yeah.
Son, I mean, should do well, but it's horrible captaining a player on the Friday. I know it's ridiculous, but
I hate that.
it's the worst thing to do. But, you know, he should do well against Forest, although Forest at home, a bit tricky. I'd probably go for Saka, to be fair, if I had him.
I think I would.
We haven't kept a clean sheet all season. Like, Arsenal will score against us. That's a guarantee. It's how many they get, and you'd expect Saka to be involved. I think he's quite a safe pick, Saka. Like, if you don't have Salah, you just want to get, you know, I don't know, 6 to 10 pointer probably from Saka, whereas Salah could go
Double
bananas.
digits.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. How about Solanke captain? Tom Mills as well, thinking about Solanke. Roynish as well. How about Solanke captain?
I mean, it's brave.
Mm.
He's also going to be the most transferred in. Do you believe in the curse?
No, absolutely. The curse is a thing. I mean, again, he's a very steady Eddie, isn't he? Mm-hmm. And like some people might be really happy with that. Maybe you're happy to get a 5 or 6 pointer from your captain. I just can't see Solanke, and this is going to get bloody clipped, isn't it? I can't see Solanke getting a hat trick.
Oh, that is so. If Solanke hat tricks now, you are going to get it in the neck.
I mean, he got 2 against Newcastle. Obviously, a big return there. He hasn't scored more than 1 goal or had more than 1 return in any other match this season.
I tend to agree with you. I think he's an okay option. I don't think he's a bad option as a captain. I just think that there will be better ones, because in your team, if you've got Solanke, you've probably also got Saka or Son or one of those guys, and I think that they are better captaincy options this week.
A few people asking what the curse is. The curse is that the most transferred in player, I think, every week so far has okay. There's a few exceptions. Okay,
Trippier was one.
Yeah, has blanked essentially. So yeah,
I think it's twice that they've actually returned.
Yeah,
so two out of 16.
That's crazy, isn't it? Yeah. Watkins in for Nunes, says James Cross. I wouldn't do that. I'm actually quite happy with Darwin this week.
Next week? Yeah. Not this week. Darwin this week.
I mean, he is so frustrating. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, he is the most frustrating player ever.
Infuriating.
Yeah, but you've got to play him this week. I mean, there are people who sold him early in the week because they were so annoyed with the blanks that he got, and they're regretting it now because now they've got Haaland to deal with and maybe other issues. I would definitely leave Nunes for this week. Bring in Watkins next week, like you said.
Yeah.
I saw a question for me. Here it is.
Ooh,
from Phenom. No, actually.
No,
I
awesome.
don't know why they're singling me out for advice. I'd much rather ask you. But anyway, Phenom says, would you take a hit to do Archer to Isak and bench Gordon? Reckon he might not start. I'm tempted by this. I'm genuinely tempted. I just need to decide whether I want to spread the money from the Haaland sale or not. If I decide to spread it, I'm going to bring in Isak for a hit. So I like it.
So who will your front three be?
I'd have Isak, Darwin and Watkins.
I don't trust Isak.
No, I know what you mean. It's one of those ones where he looks really good for this week because he obviously didn't play, did he, in midweek in the Champions League. He's going to play either on the left over Gordon or up front. I don't know who. I mean, I reckon he probably plays I reckon he probably starts on the left and they play Joe Linton through the middle.
Don't like that.
Your face then. Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, the problem with Isak is every week you're going to be worried about his minutes.
Yeah.
And Wilson is back now.
And Wilson's back. I don't love that. And so the Newcastle fixtures are nice for the next 3 weeks. And then after that, they're tough. Like, there's Liverpool in there. I forget who else is in there. Is it Man City and Villa? I think that's right. They're difficult. But you've got 3 nice ones before you get there. So it's kind of like, well, what do you do? Do you invest heavily at this point? But then also there's so many injuries and so many problems. Like if they don't get Gordon in this week, if Gordon is not unavailable to them, I worry about their creativity to link up to the front guy, whoever it is that plays up top. You've got no Trippier there either. So you're reliant on Livramento doing that job. Now, I'm not saying that Livramento can't do that job. I love Livramento. I think he's great, but he's not Trippier. So, and then the defence is looking shoddy. Everything's a bit difficult for them at the moment. A bit like it was for Spurs a couple of weeks ago when everyone was injured and the whole dynamic of the team changes. And when that happens, it puts me off investing heavily in a club because you just don't really know what you're going to get out of them each week. And on paper, Fulham looks like a great game. But in reality, Fulham have actually improved substantially lately. Don't know.
Yeah. No, you make a good point. I'm probably not going to do it. just for clarity. But I don't hate it. I think Isak should do well this week, but I think you're potentially then giving yourself a bit of a problem
because he might not play next week.
Forward.
It might be Wilson next week.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, true. Okay, maybe you've talked me out of it. probably done me a favour.
Last time I tried to talk you into something, you ignored me. So probably ignore me again on this one.
Yeah, we on Simicast as well. I dodged his first return. Have I had any points other than the bench boost from Simicast? Oh, he got an assist one week, didn't he?
Yeah.
Bless him. Quite a few free hitters we're finding
this week.
in the chat. Yeah, what do you think about Alvarez this week? I mean, potentially on a free hit, or we mentioned Isak. What about maybe taking a hit for Alvarez?
Isak out for Alvarez, as in like bring Alvarez in, or take Alvarez out for Isak.
I'm guessing Neil here is saying on the for the last comment we did, rather than Isak, get Alvarez. I would assume. Well, let's assume it's that, because you're not going to take Isak out this week for Alvarez, but
no. But the problem with getting, hang on, what are we assuming then, that he wants to take Alvarez out and bring Isak in?
No, we're just going to
other way around.
Would you bring in Alvarez for a hit this week, basically?
No, because next week he's not going to play.
Okay.
And that would massively put me off.
Yeah.
You can't bring in a player that's going to blank next week. Even if he's got a nice fixture this week. And he plays for Man City.
I just think as well, if you've got players like Gordon, you've got injuries in defence and things, like it just feels like a real luxury, doesn't it, to be bringing in a player with a blank.
It does. And also, there's a lot of players on 4 yellow cards, like big, heavily owned players. So, what you don't want is to bring in Alvarez this week. That's another player that's got to sit on your bench next week. Plus then find that like Gordon and Palmer or whoever pick up their 5th yellow card, and then you've got them out as well. And suddenly you've got half a team. That's really difficult then.
Oh, Neil free hit and took Isak out. I'd definitely have Isak on a free hit, I think.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Would you over Alvarez?
I think I'd take Alvarez, Isak, and Darwin. I think.
No, I wouldn't.
No.
No, I'd go Alvarez, Darwin, and Solanke.
Yeah, I suppose you probably do need Solanke, don't you?
That's the third take.
Maybe. Yeah, okay, you might be right. Thoughts on Gabriel Jesus? Says Kimmy, as a Haaland replacement. Brighton and West Ham in the next 3.
Yeah, I like the fixtures. I'd rather have Solanke. Where has become of us?
You're loving Solanke. Everyone is loving Solanke at the moment.
I'd also
I'm
rather
still
have
not
Cunha.
Totally convinced, but
Cunha, Jimenez. I'd rather have either of them two over Jesus as well.
Jesus just isn't, I don't think, a great FPL pick.
If you want Arsenal attack, you go Saka. That's my view.
Yeah. Or Odegaard. Odegaard's now putting up some decent numbers.
Yeah, okay.
I wouldn't use a striker spot for Jesus, basically. No. A super chat. Thank you to Pat Key. Sam, and for you. I have Nunes, Martinelli, Gordon. I plan to do Haaland and Archer to Solanke and Watkins for a -4. Or Saka and Watkins in for Martinelli and Haaland. Thoughts?
Saka and Watkins in for Martinelli and Haaland.
So basically, it's do you do Martinelli to Saka,
or do you want Solanke? I think I would do. There's 2 parts to this question, because there's also got. So if you sell Archer, then that's your bench option gone. So then who have you got a bench from your current team? I mean, I guess that maybe it's Gordon. If he doesn't play, you're relying on Gordon not playing, aren't you? Really. Haaland and Archer, Solanke. I do really like Solanke. I do think Saka's a better long-term pick though, so I think I do Martinelli and Haaland for Saka and Watkins.
Yeah, I think Martinelli to Saka is almost a no-brainer.
Yeah, I do.
Given that Martinelli's got the doubt around him now as well, and you're paying quite a bit of money for him. But Archer just is what he is, isn't he? He's just your little bench player who just comes on if and when you need him.
And I don't think he's a bad option this week either to come
on
if you need him. So if Gordon doesn't make it, you can have Solanke come. You can have Archer come off the bench, and it's okay.
I mean, you could bite you, but I'd be surprised if Martinelli to Saka was a bad transfer. You know,
I think
like,
longer term, you've got to look at that as
exactly.
a long term thing. Like if you bring Saka in, you're not selling him at any point anytime soon. So that's going to be paying you back over a few weeks.
And it's why like Solanke and Saka are such good picks, because we're coming into a busy period and they're going to play every minute. You know, and players like Martinelli, the luxury, aren't they? Because they're decent players, obviously, but you know, you wouldn't be too surprised if Trossard came in for one game and Martinelli missed out, or you don't have that same security. So yeah, I would do the Martinelli to Saka move. Personally, Solanke hype, so much Solanke hype,
Much.
He's got a blank after all this hype. He just has to.
It's literally written in the stars he's going to blank, and then Haaland will play.
Oh God, can you imagine if Haaland plays? Roy Nish, is this stream lasting to the deadline? Absolutely not. I'm going to bed in 5 minutes.
I've got body pump to do.
Yeah, I think there is a deadline stream tonight, right? I think I saw it in the schedule.
I'm not sure, actually.
Maybe I imagine that. I don't know. Maybe there is. Maybe there isn't. We should probably know that, but we don't.
We don't know.
Nobody
trusts us.
Let's take Chris's question. First of all, he says Joe Linton was immense in midweek. To be fair, he was. Great goal as well. He also said, my son is on a wild card. Best goalkeeper combos.
One that's fit.
Yeah. Don't trust us. We picked Buddy Sanchez last week.
I do actually think that Neto is a really nice option for the next few weeks at Bournemouth. I think he's a really good pick for the next 3. And I would, if I was wildcarding right now and I had a free choice on goalkeepers, I would go Vicario and Neto.
Vicario? I was not expecting that.
That's
okay. Why Vicario?
You've got to spend a bit of money.
Vicario's 5'2". He's not worth 5'2", is he?
Clean sheets are coming as.
His points are 2-2-1, 2-1-1-3.
They're coming as. The clean sheets are coming.
Oh, surely you go Martinez if you're paying $5 million for a keeper.
I don't hate the Martinez pick, but they're not keeping clean sheets either.
Well, they just kept 2 against Arsenal City. Thank you very much.
Well,
I'd go Leno, I think. I mean, it shows that there's quite a variety in the goalkeepers.
Neto, though. Neto,
yeah.
You could go Neto and Turner. If
Yeah.
you want to spend no money.
Yeah. Ariola and Turner, says Gary Dove. God,
just don't go. Oh my God.
Never again. Never
That's
again.
That's where I was. Rewind a couple of weeks. That's where I was 2 weeks ago. Oh
my God, so bad. Everyone's overlooking Tavernier, says Dr. David, 1963.
I don't think they're overlooking him.
Tavernier?
Tavernier.
Tavernier.
I don't think they're overlooking him, but I just think that he's a midfielder. And no one's looking at midfielders because we're all talking about Haaland replacements, or we've got problems with our defence, and even like the flags that we have got in midfield, the ones on like players like Gordon, we're not absolutely sure what that means, and so you're not necessarily going to sell him. But yeah, I think he's fine. I'm just not sure that he's like a great option.
Yeah. We have one from Kevin Holmes. How do you solve a problem like Matty Cash? You sell him, right?
Sell him. You sell him. And you buy Pedro Porro.
There's good options now. If you've got money and you've got cash, you could go up to Trent. You could wait a week, go for Trippier next week if you haven't got him. There's Porro, like you mentioned, to go for. Yeah, you get rid of Cash. He's just not. The trouble is, you sell him, and then maybe for some of the easy, like against Sheffield United, I'd maybe expect him to play that game. But
maybe
why risk it when there's good defenders?
Yeah. If you want to stay with Villa, just move into Pau Torres. Save some money.
Yep. Any punts? Any punts this week? If you were punting? Yeah, you like Richarlison? There's some questions about him.
I don't know if I like Richarlison, but he's a punt this week. It's like a decent punt for the next few if you can't afford Son. I wouldn't double up. He's a punt. I also really like Brennan Johnson. I think if I was going to punt on Spurs, I might punt on him for a couple of weeks. Who else do I like for a punt? Solanke, no one's going there. He's a punt. My differential on the pod this week was Senesi.
Yep.
I think he's a decent option at Bournemouth. I also think that if you're punting for 1 week and you don't need him to play next week, like you're on a free hit, Grealish looks like a decent punt.
Grealish, okay. Yep, that's a good one.
Yeah, I think he's a decent option this time around. Who else do I quite like?
Foden in capital letters.
Foden, yeah.
Potentially this week, yeah.
Yeah, this week. But again, the problem is that they don't play next week. So it's like if you're free hitting this week, then yeah, knock yourself out with these guys because I think they're nice options. But with the City guys, if you need them for next week, it's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah. I like the Richarlison pick. I also like, I've mentioned him earlier, Odegaard as well.
Yeah, he's a punt this week.
Yeah, I mean, he's if you look at his expected goal involvement over the last 3, it's consistent, whereas it's been very erratic kind of throughout the season. And I just feel like he's starting to kind of find a bit more of an attacking role in that team. He got 10 points against Wolves, followed up with an assist against Luton, blanked against Villa, but the stats were looking pretty good. 14% owned. Yeah, he could start doing some bits for people. I think that's it, Sam. I think we've covered quite a lot. Thank you all very much for all your questions on the stream. We've enjoyed it. It's been nice having you back.
Oh, I've missed this. I did my usual Thursday chat over on our Instagram channel, and honestly, I answered some of them, but I had about 3, 4, 5 questions that were all like, "Why are you not streaming with us anymore? Are you going back to the Q&A?" And I was like, "Don't worry, guys, I'm back this week."
We're back, and the sound issues have not been a problem. A few people complaining at the start.
Together.
We're back next week, and then we need to work out our schedule over Christmas.
Oh, that's fine. We'll spend Christmas together, so we'll just stream every day.
As we do every year.
Every year. We spend every day together, so...
Awesome stuff. Right, everyone, I'm going back to bed. Sam, thanks for joining me. And yeah, we'll see you all next week.
Thanks for having me. Green arrows, everyone.